Hi everyone, so this is my third blog post for IUR 190G. And this week Professor Lavian expressed that we should probably work off of each other's ideas and take a look at everyone else's top 10 invention blogs and come up with a new blog for our new and improved 10 inventions. So I've done just that, and I just want to give a brief summary of the new 10 inventions on my list, starting with democracy. So democracy is a form of government where people have equal rights and equal power and choice, and it's not really ruled by any one leader. And so I think that's a novel invention in itself to give people equal choice in that respect. Next, I have the irrigation system, which allows for the artificial application of water to land or soil. And although it's an extremely old system, I think it's really vital for the preservation of production of crops. Excuse me. And I think that without it, a lot of people on this earth wouldn't be fed. Next, I have the clock, and the clock is an important one for me because I actually use my calendar and I'm very dependent on time quite often, and so for me the clock just keeps everyone kind of on time. I think it keeps things organized, and I think without it things like meeting times wouldn't exist, and we live in a much more disorganized world. Next we have the airplane. So I had the gas-powered automobile on the first list, but I wanted to include the airplane on this list because of its sheer impact on travel and trade. So if you can imagine going across a body of water many years ago, you'd probably have to do it by boat, but an airplane allows it to be done much faster, much more efficiently, and allows the transport of lots of materials that are essential for trade. Next we have language. So this was an interesting one. I think I found it on Chris Nalla's blog, and I think it was so interesting to me to see that an invention such as language wasn't on my list because language is so crucial to how we kind of spread knowledge and how we share ideas today. So wanted to include that on the list there. Next we have the mouse, and so that's the computer mouse. And I had computer and internet on the original list, but I wanted to include the mouse because the mouse is so crucial to how we sort of direct the function of what the computer is doing. So whether it's choosing an application, clicking a program, or opening a picture on Facebook, the mouse really allows us to have that directional capability. Next we have the plow, and the plow is basically a cutting tool used to prepare soil for planting. And it might seem pretty simple, but the plow has actually really changed the way that food is grown, and it's allowed much greater quantities of food to be produced. Next, another one I found on Chris Nalla's blog actually is carbon fiber, and so carbon fiber was so interesting to me because it's a super strong metal, yet it's extremely lightweight, and I think that's so remarkable that it's 5 times as strong as steel, but weighs actually 2/3 less, and it has functions and the ability to reduce fuel consumption, and I think carbon fiber is something that scientists and researchers are still doing a lot of investigation into, and we're learning more and more about it, and trying to make more use out of it as we go along. Next, we have artificial organs. I think artificial organs are extremely impactful in the field of healthcare. I think diseases or maybe internal imperfections that don't allow for the proper function of an organ, um, an artificial organ can come in and really save that person's life. So if a person is suffering from some sort of disease that causes their organs to function improperly, then an artificial organ can take the place, and I think that's really revolutionary, and really shows what strides science has taken in the right direction. Lastly, I have GPS. I'm actually quite surprised I didn't include it on my original list because I'm very dependent on GPS for my day-to-day activities. If I'm traveling in a car or going somewhere, I use GPS as a means of navigation. And again, with GPS is something that we're continuing to develop, we're continuing to improve, and I think that with satellites becoming more accurate, and with science and technology becoming more advance, I think GPS is something that's only going to become stronger. So that's it for my blog today. Hope to see your guys' comments, and looking forward to making another one of these blogs next week.